On a little farm lived a cute duck family. Mummy Duck was sitting on her eggs waiting for her new ducklings to hatch. There were exactly 7 eggs that were waiting to hatch. One sunny morning, the eggs began to hatch. Soon after, with great joy, the 6 little ducklings began to hatch. The ducklings were trying to adapt to the new world. They were quacking and walking around Mother Duck. However, the largest egg of them all was still trying to hatch, and Mother Duck began to worry. She thought that there might be something wrong. She decided to wait a little while longer. And at last, the 7th and the largest egg hatched. With great confusion, the poor ducklings began to look around. Little did he know his mother and siblings were a bit more confused than he was. Because this duck, in particular, did not look like his siblings. He was built much more broader and had grey and white feathers. The other ducklings began to laugh at him.
What an ugly duckling you are! You look nothing like us.
I don't get it. How come you look nothing like your siblings?
Ugly, 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 ugly.
Sometime later, the ducklings all grew older. But the ugly duckling was much bigger than the others, even the colour of his feathers.
You grew up so fast. How did you turn out to be so different?
Time was passing by and the ugly duckling was growing up to be a different and sad duck. None of his siblings wanted to play with him.
We won't play with you because you're ugly.
All the other animals on the farm were making fun of him. Ugly duckling, ugly duckling.
No, 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 ugly duckling, ugly duckling.
Mother Duck, on the other hand, was doing her best in protecting him.
My poor duckling, why are you so different than the others?
As the days passed, the poor ugly duckling was feeling horrible. All night long he would silently cry and think to himself that no one would ever want him. Why am I so ugly? Why couldn't I turn out to be like my siblings? One day, some hunters approached the lake near where they lived. The hunters began to hunt the ducks they had seen. Whilst Mother Duck was looking for food for the ducklings, she was caught by the hunters. The poor duckling, not knowing what had been happening, he waited till morning for his mother to return. Poor duckling didn't know what to do. First he went next to the dog, and the dog told him to go.
Go away. No one should see me talking to an ugly duck like you.
A while later, he went next to the chicken, but the chicken also made fun of him.
Even I'm better looking than you.
Ugly Duckling was very sad.
No one wants me here. If my mother isn't coming back, there's absolutely no reason for me to stay on this farm.
That morning, the ugly duckling left the farm. He swam to the other side of the lake. He asked the same question to all the animals he bumped into along the way.
Do you know of any duck that looks like me? Do you know of any ducks that look like me? Do you know of any ducks that look like me?
He received the same answer from all of them. They had never seen such ugly duck before. Poor Duckling began his journey and reached another lake once he was there. He asked the same question to the geese. You mustn't stay here like this. There are hunters around. Quickly get away from here. Go on, now go. The ugly duckling began to move along. Soon after, another lake appeared. This time he was all alone. There was no one to be seen.
Well then, if nobody wants me, I will hide here forever.
Even though he was all alone, he was very happy. One day, he saw a horde of white long-necked birds migrating to the south. He looked at them with admiration.
How beautiful they are. I wish I could be like them.
Winter had come and snow had begun to fall. The ugly duckling fell in love with the sight of his first ever snow. Playing around, he was covered in white snow. Due to the heavy snow, the ugly duckling was finding it hard to find food. So off he went walking around trying to find food. He was cold and tired. Meanwhile, he came across a farmer. The farmer felt sorry for him and gave his jacket.
You poor thing, how cold you are. I will take you home and look after you until you grow.
The farmer did as he said and took good care of him. When spring had arrived, the ugly duckling had grown. So that he would have free space to move around, the farmer decided to leave him in a lake. All alone once again. After some time had passed, the ugly duckling looked at his reflection in the water. But he was amazed at what he saw. At first, he couldn't recognize himself. He thought there was someone else behind him. So he flipped his wings and noticed that his reflection was doing the same thing. He stretched out his neck and his reflection continued to copy his movements. Right then he knew that this amazing bird was no one other than himself.
Oh, how much I've changed. I look like the birds in the sky. I must return back home and show myself at once.
And off he went. While he was swimming in the lake, he came across a wedge of swans. Because he was one of them now, they took him along. Ugly Duckling was travelling in joy with the swans. A boy at the lake shore yelled out to his friends when he saw the swans.
Hey, look at the young one. All the way back. Must be the most beautiful swan I've seen.
Yes, from the beginning, he indeed was a swan. He was just an unfortunate egg which got mixed up in between the ducks. But now he was with his real family, and ahead of him was a happy life.
On a sunny spring day, everyone was on the streets to find a Father's Day gift. The toy maker Geppetto was standing alone in his shop, was looking out sadly, because he didn't have a son to give him a Father's Day gift. His cat Tutu came and sat on Geppetto's lap.
Ah, I wish I had a child. Of course, you're a child of mine, Tutu.
Geppetto wanted to make a childlike toy for the first time that day. And he took a piece of pine tree stumps and began to carve it.
Ouch! What? Did you say something, Tutu?
Geppetto heard strange sounds as he carved the log.
Ow! Ugh!
While Geppetto was painting the stump he had delicately carved, he left it on the table and went out in front of the shop with curiosity. At that time, the log in the form of a puppet boy jumped up from the table. Geppetto couldn't believe his eyes.
Hello!
There was a talking puppet standing in front of him.
You're a talking puppet boy. You are my Father's Day gift.
Father's Day? Are you my father?
Yes, son. You are now my son too. And your name is... Let me think. Pinocchio.
Pinocchio!
Let me cook you a nice meal, Pinocchio.
When Geppetto went inside, a mischievous woodpecker came to Pinocchio. Hey, kid! Tuck, tuck! What are you waiting for? The weather is beautiful! Come out!
Out?
Yup! Tuck, tuck! Go and run free! As the woodpecker said, Pinocchio went outside and started running. When Geppetto returned, he could not see his son where he had left him and was very alarmed. He went out and ran to find him, but because he was too old, he got tired and sat down. Pinocchio, on the other hand, was running around and got lost in the bazaar.
Ah! I mixed all the roads! How will I go back to my father now?
As Pinocchio wandered around sadly, his stomach rumbled with hunger. He saw a beautiful fruit stand up ahead. He dipped his hand and took a banana.
Hey, kid. You can't have my fruits for free. Don't you have parents? You have to give me money.
Oh well, I actually have a lot of money, but at home.
At that moment, Pinocchio's nose began to grow.
Huh? My nose! What's wrong with my nose? My nose, my nose, my nose!
Pinocchio was running around in panic.
If you have money, you should bring it right away, kid.
Oh no, no! Don't be angry! I can't because I don't have any money, sir!
When Pinocchio told the truth, his nose returned to its original state. But he ran away without realizing it. Finally, he stopped in front of a window and looked at his reflection in the glass.
My nose is the same as before!
Master Geppetto looked for his son from street to street until dark. Finally, when it started to rain, he started to wait in a corner, hoping that maybe his son would pass there.
Where are you, Pinocchio? My dear son, where are you?
Pinocchio, on the other hand, was drenched in the rain and smelled like wet wood. He desperately jumped into a trash can to shelter from the rain. But in the morning, he realized that he was not alone in the trash can.
Hey, wooden kid, I'm very hungry. Let me nibble on a piece of your foot and fill my stomach.
Pinocchio was so scared that he wanted to leave immediately. But the mouse grabbed Pinocchio's foot with his huge hands.
No! Let me go! My dad is a tiger! If he sees you, he'll eat you in one bite!
If your father was a tiger, you would have a tail too.
Yes, I already have a tail!
When Pinocchio lied, his nose grew again.
My nose!
Then give me a bite of your tail!
Pinocchio jumped out of the trash can in fear.
Don't bite! I have no tail! I have no tail!
Pinocchio stood in front of a puddle and was relieved to see his reflection that his nose had returned to its original state.
That means I have a nose that gets longer when I lie and shorter when I tell the truth.
However, he did not notice the evil thief approaching him silently from behind. When the thief saw a puppet running and walking by himself, he wanted to steal it and sell it.
Thanks to you, I can make a huge amount of money. I'm rich now.
Let me go! I'm a real kid. I'm not a talking puppet.
Master Geppetto looked at every shop and every street he saw throughout the day, but he could not find Pinocchio.
Maybe my son went to the beach, but what if he fell into the sea?
Geppetto rushed to the shore and began to look for him, calling out. In the meantime, he saw a strange-looking big man carrying a large cloth bag on his back. He approached him and asked him if he had seen a puppet child. Recognizing his father's voice, Pinocchio immediately started screaming.
Dad! I'm here! I'm here!
When Geppetto heard the voice of his son Pinocchio, he asked the man to give him back. The man, on the other hand, said that he would sell him and make a lot of money, and pushed Geppetto aside and continued walking. At that time, Pinocchio lied constantly inside the cloth bag.
Amanda, I'm a thief too! Well, I have got a lot of money. The color of my hat is also red.
And that way, his nose grew and the cloth bag was pierced. And he jumped out of the hole and ran to his father, Geppetto.
Daddy!
My son!
When the thief noticed this, he angrily walked up to them. Geppetto threw the fishing net on the ground at the thief. The thief got caught in the net and lost his balance and fell into the sea. Geppetto and his son Pinocchio hugged each other tightly. Pinocchio immediately restored his nose by telling all the truths he knew.
And also, I'm a good kid. I don't want to upset anyone. Besides, I love my dad so much.
At that moment, a miracle happened, and Pinocchio became a child of flesh and blood. From that day on, all the fathers and sons of the city believed that miracles are created out of love, not lies.